so much. And coming up in just a few minutes, we have the Hearthstone What's Next panel. But right now, it's time to catch up on everything that's happened over the past year with our Hearthstone Year in Review.
2015, great year for Hearthstone. And a lot of stuff happened, but I think it's worth going back to the beginning of the year with the launch of Blackrock Mountain, the second ever Hearthstone adventure.
We got to delve into Blackrock Mountain itself and be somewhat of a pawn in this war between Ragnaros the Fire Lord.
Yeah, I don't know about you, I felt a little manipulated by Nefarian at the beginning.
It was also our first taste of dragon decks. There's a lot of dragon build-around cards. Cards like Emperor Thorsan, Major Domo Executus, a lot of the dragon cards, Cro-Magus, Rend Blackhand, Grim Patron.
And Nefarian.
Nefarian.
I love it when it flies over the board like that. It was awesome.
About a little over a year ago, we initially released the game onto tablets, and that was a big kind of undertaking, kind of reformatting the UI and the screen of the game in order to fit a smaller screen. Last April, we released it on phones, and that took that experience and brought it down to an even smaller interface, and that was a big challenge for us.
I think this has opened up a new way for players everywhere who just didn't really have the chance to play Hearthstone before, to be playing it, to be experiencing all the great content we're releasing.
We've got it out on multiple platforms now, and anywhere you want to play Hearthstone, we have a version for you.
Mobile kind of unlocks all kinds of cool, new, exciting things, and it definitely unlocks the ability to get more people playing Hearthstone now than we've ever had the chance to do before. So we actually just passed 40 million players playing Hearthstone now, and I think mobile was a big part of that.
In July, we released Tavern Brawls.
Yeah.
It's a totally new, crazy way to play Hearthstone. Each week, you don't really know what to expect. Whenever a new Tavern Brawl launches, it could be kind of anything, and we have big dreams for where Tavern Brawl could go in the future. We've already seen a lot of crazy modes.
In August, Hearthstone released its second expansion, the Grand Tournament. I really liked the Grand Tournament. It had all kinds of knights from different lands coming together. The Murloc Knight was one of my favorites. They came together, they jousted, they had fun, they had refreshments, they had funnel cakes. It was great.
We added our first new keyword to Hearthstone, Inspire, that makes your hero power feel way more powerful.
You're using cards in classes that you've never seen them before in, and it's skill testing and it's fun because of those crazy situations. One of the things I love about Hearthstone is it's so accessible. The esports have been watched by hundreds of thousands of players, and the tone when they're watching has been different than other esports. It's been more relaxed, more fun, more warm, more inviting.
The release of our new format through Conquest that's been picked up through the esports scene. We've also seen a lot of people starting to pick up, the higher level players picking up points as they start working their way up the ladder system and using those points as a way to bind together the entire progression towards the Hearthstone World Championship.
Another thing I've really enjoyed is how fireside gatherings have taken off this year.
That's just been such an important part of just where we want to take the community aspect of Hearthstone, and how we've kind of now tied that in with the progression towards Hearthstone World Championship. And we actually had these amazing events where everybody got together, they had their local champion who was representing their fireside gathering. All those local champions then came together for this big epic duel to see who's going to make it to BlizzCon. So maybe next year, this could be you. This has been an incredible year. We've had so much amazing things happen between Blackrock Mountain, the launch of Hearthstone on mobile, looking to the Grand Tournament, and now League of Explorers. I mean, where do we go next from here? We have so much amazing things that are coming.
We have awesome stuff planned. I can't wait for League of Explorers, and 2016 is going to be even better.
Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
Well, that was what we got last year from Hearthstone. Let's take a look at what we're gonna get next. It's Hearthstone's What's Next panel. Take a look.
We've traversed the tombs of Naxxramas. We've climbed every cliff on Black Rock. Now the world cries out for heroes. As a new evil rises, there will be danger. There will be doom. There will be ancient temples filled with relics, treasures, and traps. Who will answer the call?
We explorers lead, and we are in need of explorers. Adventure we seek, cross land and sea. Won't you come and join us? Oh, yes!
Welcome to the Hearthstone What's Next panel.
Oh! What's up? What up, BlizzCon? Oh! It's good to be here. The League of Explorers, Hearthstone's newest adventure. Over the next hour, we will explore this adventure together. And because it launches next week, I'm going to show you every single card. This adventure is nuts. There's 45 new cards, and those cards release over only 4 wings. So somebody go check on Trump, because this is value overload. This adventure's new in a lot of ways. We invented some brand new characters. We're exploring a lot of new locations. We wanted to take a break from exploring raids and dungeons in World of Warcraft and just do something a little more lighthearted and different. So as the archaeologists say, let's dig in. Cue the music. Deep in the world of Warcraft, there is a great dwarven city called Ironforge. And within Ironforge lies the Hall of Explorers, home of the Explorers League. And inside the Hall of Explorers is the greatest museum in Azeroth. This museum is awesome. It's got great exhibits, lots of books, a great place to take your kids on the weekend. But something is missing. Some kind of centerpiece to tie it all together. There is an artifact that is so ancient, so powerful, and so cool that it would be the perfect addition to the museum. It's called the Staff of Origination. And one explorer has been working tirelessly to find it. Her name is Elise Starseeker.
I am Elise Starseeker, a cartographer. We've got a lead on the 3 pieces of the Staff of Origination and could use your help.
She's got a lead on the 3 pieces of the Staff of Origination. That's huge. Elise has been on hundreds of League expeditions. She's created a huge catalog of maps and charts. She loves navigation and cartography. But her biggest joy is locating ancient artifacts that are so old that they're just whispered about in taverns. So finding the Staff of Origination is huge for Elise. But she can't find it alone. She will need the help of the League to retrieve it. And even they aren't enough. She'll need your help. Will you help? Will you join the League of Explorers? Excellent. Of course, you'll need some gear if you're going to do that. You'll, of course, need your Explorer's hat. We showed this off earlier today at the opening ceremony. Gives a minion +1/+1. And Death Rattle. This card is awesome with Echoing Ooze. It's great with Feign Death. Get a couple of these guys. Here's how it looks in game. Here, Harrison. There you go. And you never leave that hat behind. But that's not enough. You need some more stuff. You're going to be exploring ancient temples, underground dark places. You'll need a torch. Here's the Forgotten Torch. For 3 mana, it deals 3 damage. It's not a lot of damage, but what you give up in initial power, you gain back in some late game boost. Here's the Roaring Torch that gets shuffled into your deck for you to draw later. Pretty simple. The question is it worth it? to play a little bit less power up front to get this much power later in the game. And these 2 cards will actually be given to you no matter how many Wings of the League of Explorers you buy. You just get the hat and the torch to start your adventures. All right, you're fully equipped. Let's go on a quest to find the 3 pieces of the Staff of Origination. The first piece is in the Temple of Orsis, here in the desert of Uldum. Now, the desert is littered with ancient Titan temples. But there was a recent windstorm, and the Temple of Orsis was unveiled, hidden beneath the sands for a long time. This is where the first piece of the staff lies. And Elise has dispatched a talented and capable explorer to help retrieve the first piece, although he's a bit impulsive. Meet Reno Jackson.
Explorer, I'm Reno Jackson, world-renowned archaeologist, adventurer, and treasure hunter. The first piece of the staff is here in the Temple of Orsis. Now, I've cleared most of the traps, but you're welcome to join for the rest.
Now, Reno, you're going to have to keep him in line a little bit as he goes through the Temple of Orsis to find the first piece of the staff, because he sometimes wanders off. When you enter the... Oh, let me give you a sneak peek of the Temple of Orsis as you step inside. This is the board for the League of Explorers. We call it the excavation board. Really gives you a feel of exploring ancient ruins, underground temples. It's awesome. So, when you enter the Temple of Orsis, Reno will immediately find a shiny lamp, and he cannot resist a shiny lamp. So he'll grab it, unleashing an ancient genie.
Finally free! Your reward will be a quick death.
Everybody knows that genies grant wishes, and this guy is no exception. He'll grant you wishes as he's trying to kill you. And if you use those wishes properly, you'll be able to defeat Zanar and earn these cards. The first one we showed off earlier today, the Jeweled Scarab. This is the Discover keyword, a brand new keyword for the League of Explorers. When you play a card that lets you discover something, we'll show you 3 cards. You get to choose one of those to add to your hand. And those cards can be from anywhere. They don't have to be in your deck. They can be neutral minions, or they can be cards that you could play as your class. So if you play this card and you're a mage, you'll see some mage cards. Here's how it looks in game again. All right. Choosing correctly here is not always easy, depending on what deck you're playing and what your opponent is playing. Choosing the right card for the right situation can be quite difficult. So that's Discover. We're going to see that a lot more as I show you some more of these cards. But in the meantime, here's another card you'll earn by defeating Zanar.
This is no place for mortals!
The Genie of Zephyrs. Whenever you cast a spell on another friendly minion, cast a copy of it on him. This card's great with buffs like Blessing of Might, Blessing of Kings. You get 2 copies, basically. It's also really good with Power Word Shield, because you get to draw 2 cards, because you cast it twice. Great new card for your cool buff decks. Here's another new card. Some of these come from the class challenges. This is a new warrior card. The Obsidian Destroyer. It's a lot like Hogger, actually. At the end of your turn, he's going to create taunt minions. But he's actually a lot harder to kill than Hogger, because often the way you deal with Hogger is casting direct damage spells on him, like Fireball or Swipe. He is pretty far out of range of those types of spells, so he's going to be a huge monster to deal with for warriors. All right. If you can defeat Zanar, you can get farther into the Temple of Orsis. And if you can make it to the treasure room, you'll find the first piece of the staff. It's called the Rod of the Sun. And even though it's only a piece of the Staff of Origination, it's still incredibly powerful. But it's being currently wielded by a massive temple guardian.
The Rod of the Sun is mine!
Sun Raider Ferrix holds the staff, the first piece of the staff, and it is so powerful that whoever holds it is immune to damage. And you will have to wrest control of the staff away from him, and whoever controls the staff for longer will win the battle and take the first piece. And you'll also learn these cards. The Anubisoth Sentinel is a very powerful death rattle. I think one of the most powerful death rattle effects we've ever made. Very hard to clear this minion off the battlefield and get all of its stats out of the way, because it gives another minion +3/+3. Here's another new card. If you've ever played the Tavern Brawl, the Grand Summoners competition, this card gives you the power of that Tavern Brawl in a collectible card. So you could play this card and then follow it up with some spells, or play it and somehow protect it for a turn and unleash a swarm of minions based on every spell you cast. All right, here's another.
Buying or selling.
This is a new Warlock minion. The Dark Peddler deals in small trinkets. Lets you discover a 1-cost card. And this is, again, a neutral minion or a Warlock card. Warlocks have a lot of very powerful 1-cost cards. This card's super flexible, because often you really want to make sure you're using your mana every turn. And this minion, you play it on turn 2, and then on a future turn where you don't have quite enough mana to use, maybe you have a 3-cost minion and it's turn 4, you can slip that 1 mana cost minion in, and it helps fill out your mana curve. So it's a very versatile new minion for Warlocks. After you have the first piece of the staff and you snatch it up, the temple will start crumbling around you. It turns out the first piece of the staff, the Rod of the Sun, is all that's keeping the temple together. And this mission is really unlike anything we've ever done. It's playable here at BlizzCon today. There isn't an enemy hero per se. Instead, you just have to survive long enough to make it through the temple before it collapses. It's a really different kind of mission. And you and Reno will have to escape, and along the way there'll be traps, there'll be decisions to make, and you have to choose wisely to make it out of the temple alive. This mission, actually, we had a prototype of it back in 2011, and we've been working on it since then. This was the perfect time to get this type of thing into the game. We're really excited about it. Now, if you can make it through the temple before it collapses with the first piece of the staff, we will reward you with these cards. The Rumbling Elemental is a cool new minion for Shaman players. It's a little bit like Knife Juggler, in that whenever you play a minion, this time with Battle Cry, it'll deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Hopefully inspires a brand new type of Shaman deck. Here's another new one. The Sacred Trial, a new paladin secret. Imagine a hallway filled with holy lasers and swinging axes, and the worthy can stroll through it unscathed. But the unworthy, let's see what happens. Here comes Antonidas. Is he worthy? He's not worthy. Sorry, Antonidas. All right, here's another new card.
The ancient curse.
Everybody knows that if you disturb the wrong sarcophagus in the temple you're exploring, you'll get cursed. And this guy makes that come true. You can work with the Ancient Shade. He's a pretty big minion for his mana cost, but he will curse you, and that curse might catch up to you. In this case, when you draw the curse card that he shuffles into your deck, you'll take 7 damage and draw a new card to replace it. Pretty tricky. All right. Here is Reno Jackson.
We're gonna be rich.
At the end of each wing, we will give you the explorer that you've been exploring with. In this case, Reno Jackson fully heals your hero if you have no duplicates in your deck. This is going to inspire a whole new deck type. Ideally, you have 30 different cards in your deck. You might be able to get away with playing a couple duplicates, but you have to make sure you draw at least one of those before you decide to play Reno to get the Battle Cry effect. Or maybe just make sure you have no cards in your deck when you play him. But this is an awesome new card. We hope it inspires totally crazy new decks. So if you can complete the first wing of the adventure and you've got the first piece of the staff, you can actually take it back to the Hall of Explorers and put it up on the wall in the museum and display it and get ready to go chase down the other two pieces. We got some new UI that shows you the progress you're making towards the Staff of Origination. All right, let's check back in with Elise Starseeker. Elise, where can we find the second piece of the staff?
The ancient halls of Uldaman, home to Titan ruins, powerful artifacts, and hordes of angry trogs.
Uldaman? I remember Uldaman. It was a dungeon in World of Warcraft. And the dwarves had been excavating this dungeon, this ancient Titan city, trying to learn its secrets. And there is one dwarf who heard when we were going back to Uldaman to find the second piece of the staff, he wanted to make sure he was there. Meet Bran Bronzebeard.
Hail, fellow explorer. I'm Bran Bronzebeard, the League's founder.
Now, Bran founded the League of Explorers, but he's been too busy out in the field searching for the origin of his people to do much of the work these days, but he had to be back for Uldaman. Although things have changed in Uldaman since the last time he was there, it's always been infested with trogs, but one trog in particular has gained a lot of power over time, and he's become the trog ruler of Uldaman, Chieftain Scarvash.
Uldaman for trogs only!
Now, trogs are excellent at disrupting enemy spell casting, but he's become so powerful he actually pulses different auras, making it hard for you to cast spells, and then other times minions, and you have to carefully navigate his different pulsing auras to turn the tide of battle in your favor. If you can do that, you'll earn these cards.
Charge rule!
This card is a lot like Mana Worm for mages, and then it's an early, efficient minion that grows over time based on the spells you're playing. In this case, you can play Tunnel Trog on turn 1, follow it up with Totem Golem, and he gains +1 attack. Whenever you see Overload and a number, that number is the number of attack that Tunnel Trog is gaining. So you could do double Forked Lightning and give him +4 attack. This card's awesome. All right, you'll also earn this new card.
You want it? I got it.
This is a mage card, and it lets you discover a spell. Now, again, discover is only neutral, minions, or class cards. So in this case, when you play this, you'll see 3 mage spells. And mage spells are pretty good. You could see Fireball, or Blizzard, or Flame Strike, or some of the secrets. But choosing the right spell for the situation you're in, and for the deck you expect your opponent to be playing, and the deck you're playing, can be quite difficult. The Mounted Raptor, it's hard to see from the art here, but there's actually somebody riding the Mounted Raptor, and when the Mounted Raptor dies, the rider pops off, and you have to fight that minion to finish off the battle. This is a new Druid minion, it's a new beast for Druids. All right, if you can defeat Chieftain Scarvash. Now, Bran has been in Uldaman before, doing some excavations, and the dwarves had to lay some mining tracks to help clear out some of the stuff so they could really explore this ancient Titan city. And when you defeat Chieftain Scarvash, the rest of the trogs will be pretty angry, and they will chase you, and you'll have to hop into a nearby mine cart and ride it straight to the center of Uldaman. Again, this is a really different kind of mission. There isn't an enemy hero. You just have to escape the chasing trogs in time and make it to the center of Uldaman. And you'll have to do that by using some of the tricks and tips that Bran knows, throwing rocks and bombs, weaving left and right. And you won't bring your own deck here, you'll just have to master the minecart to get to the center of Uldaman. If you can do that, we'll give you these cards. The Tomb Spider lets you discover a beast. And again, this is neutral minions or class specific to the one you're playing. So if you play this as a druid or a hunter, you'll see those types of minions. And again, choosing whether you want an angry chicken or King Crush can actually be quite difficult, because you don't know if you're going to get to turn 9 And you may need that one-mana minion to fill in your curve right now. This is a fun new card, neutral minion. You'll also earn this card. The Unearthed Raptor is a new rogue minion. Lets you choose one of your current minions that's on the battlefield and copy their death rattle effect onto the Unearthed Raptor. So you could copy Leper Gnome, or Loot Hoarder, or Sylvanas, or Karen Bloodhoof, or the new Anubisoth. Strong new card for rogues. And if you make it all the way through to the center of Uldaman, an old friend awaits. Arcadus.
Yes, awaken Arcadus.
Arcadus watches the center of Uldaman. He guards the vault, and he will summon a lot of useless statues for both players, and they'll kind of clog up the battlefield. They have 0 attack, and whoever can make better use out of these otherwise useless statues will make it to the vault and claim the second piece of the staff which lies inside, and earn these cards. This monkey is fierce! This monkey is super good in your bolster decks. I'm excited about this guy. Warrior card. All right, you'll also earn this card.
I have big plans.
Reliquary Seeker is a 1-mana 1/1. But if you happen to play her while you have 6 other minions already in the battlefield, she'll be a 5/5 minion for 1 mana. It's a huge minion for only 1 mana if you can get that situation to get set up, which can be difficult. But Warlocks have some tools to get there. Here's another new card.
None may steal our secrets.
The Keeper of Uldaman is one of my favorite new cards. It can set an enemy minion to have 3 attack and 3 health, which actually sets up a great trade for you because the Keeper of Uldaman is a 3/4 minion. Or you can use it on your own Silverhand recruits, turning them into 3/3 minions, buffing them up. I love the flexibility of this card. It's for paladins. All right, here's another new card. This is a pretty weird card. It's a priest spell. It's pretty powerful AoE in that it deals 3 damage to anything, everything. But then you shuffle it into your opponent's deck. It's hard to tell if that's good or bad, because if your opponent could use it against you, but if they're playing an aggressive deck, they may not want to deal 3 damage to everything. But they might not even want any 5-cost spells in their deck at all. So this is an interesting new card, something we haven't really done before. And of course, every wing ends with the Explorer, helps you explore there. Here's Bran Bronzebeard.
Who knows what secrets we'll uncover?
This guy's awesome. He's gonna inspire a brand new type of deck. Thank you. It's gonna be awesome. If you've never miscollared while this guy's on the table, only to Youthful Brewmaster him and miscollar again to give everything in your deck +4/+4, you haven't truly lived. This card's amazing, and here's how it looks in game.
Who knows what secrets we'll uncover?
Brand's rad. All right. So if you can complete the second wing, you can take the second piece of the staff here, put it back up in the museum. Looks pretty good. Making good progress towards completing the Staff of Origination. But while we were futzing around in Uldaman, we got a letter from the final explorer. Let's take a listen.
I am Sir Finley Murgleton, noble knight and an explorer of some renown. Join me in Stranglethorn Jungle to find the final piece of the staff.
Sir Finley Murgleton is a proper gentleman Murloc. And he's been stationed in Stranglethorn Jungle for a few months now studying the native gorillas, trying to infiltrate their culture. But he was super excited to hear that Elise had located the third piece of the staff, and he couldn't wait to be a part of the team that found it. The third piece of the staff is in the ruined city of Stranglethorn, a previously lost city there. Let's head over to Stranglethorn now. There we go, wonderful. All right, the ruined city is somewhere around here. Let's see if we can find it. No, it's not over there. There it is. The ruined city. We found it. Look at it. There it is. Wait a second, what's that?
The Naga have Finley. Hurry, Explorer, before he's dinner.
Greetings, Explorer. I seem to be in a bit of a pickle. Could you help a fellow out?
The Naga have Finley? Oh no! For the first mission in the ruined city, you'll have to fight Lord Slitherspear, who has trapped poor Sir Finley Murgleton in a cauldron.
Dinner time. Tonight we have Murloc soup.
Throughout this mission, a hungry Naga will flood the area, excited for dinner, and they'll get hungrier and hungrier over the course of the mission. And you'll have to bust Finley out of that cauldron to save him before he comes dinner.
Oh dear, is it getting warmer?
Now, if you can do that, you'll earn these cards. This is a huge toad. It's exactly what you'd expect to find in Stranglethorn Jungle. There is another toad by his left foot for scale, so you can tell just how huge he is. And he's got a foot in his mouth. That's a huge toad. Here's another card. The Gorilla Bots were a line of gorilla robots that were used to infiltrate the local gorilla populations. This is the new model. It's got a new software update. We're excited about that. And it's really great for your mech decks. Again, this is neutral mechs or mechs of the class you're playing. So if you're playing Paladin, you can see shielded mini-bots and other Paladin mechs, etc. Cool new card for some mech decks. Here's another new card. New trap for hunters, the Dart Trap. This card deals 5 damage when your opponent uses his or her hero power. Finally an answer to those inspired decks that are wreaking havoc on the ladder. Dart Trap for hunters. All right. So if you can defeat Lord Slitherspear, you'll have a little bit of breathing room to search the ruined city for the third piece of the staff. The third piece is called the Pearl of the Tides, a very powerful artifact. And hopefully you'll find it easily, but there are some menacing creatures who are known to roam the ruined city. One of them is this thing. Giant Fin, the massive Murloc. Now, this guy pilots the ultimate Murloc deck. It truly is terrible to behold. Finally, a use for my hungry crabs. And if you run into him, which I hope you do not, but if you do and you can defeat him, you'll learn these appropriately themed cards. If you're familiar with Wisp, this card might look similar to you, but it is a Murloc, and often Murloc decks need a little bit of boost to get something out onto the battlefield, make it stick, and then buff it with other Murloc minions. This guy gives Murloc decks that kind of boost. And you may have seen this card in the demo stations over behind us. This is a Shaman spell for Murlocs. Now this gives all your minions +2/+2, whether they're Murlocs or not, but it gets cheaper for every Murloc that you control. So hopefully you control a lot of them. All right, but that's not the only class Murloc card we have. I didn't want to leave my Paladin Murloc players out in the dust. Here's another new Paladin Murloc card. I mean, if you play Paladin Murloc like me, you know one of the big problems is that you run out of steam sometimes. This card is all steam. Doesn't matter if you played the Murlocs or your opponent did, you'll summon as many as died this game up to the full board limit 7. This card's awesome for Paladin Murloc players. All right, enough with the Murlocs. All right, so if you can defeat Giant Finn, you will delve deeper into the ruined city, and you'll find the Pearl of the Tides. But a horrible Naga Sea Witch has got the Pearl of the Tides first.
I wield the power of the Pearl.
The Pearl of the Tides is the last piece of the staff, but even on its own, it's a very powerful artifact. And Lady Nazjar has been using the Pearl of the Tides to warp and enhance nearby creatures. And you'll have to get your own minions close enough to use that power against her and defeat her and snatch the Pearl for yourself. If you can do that, you'll earn these cards. The Pit Snake is a new rogue minion. Destroys any minion it damages. This is a pretty aggressive early game minion, but can also go toe-to-toe with your opponent's mid and late game minions. Here's another new card. This card is sure to frustrate your opponent. It's a priest spell. You choose an enemy minion, you pluck it off the battlefield and tuck it into your deck, which you can then draw later to defeat them. No, yes. That's Entomb. Here's another new card.
I will not be trifled with.
You can call this one Dr. 5. 5 mana, 5/5, your cards cost 5. So on turn 5, you can play her, and then on turn 6, you can play any card in the game, because they all cost 5, so you have the mana. Or on turn 10, you could play the Naga Sea Witch, and then follow it up with, again, any card of the game, because you have 10 mana. This card enables some pretty weird stuff. I'm excited to see what you do with it. All right. The Jungle Moonkin is a new druid minion. It's a new beast for druids. Both players have spell damage +2. That's a lot of spell damage on a single minion, on a 4-cost minion. And it's great because you can swipe for 6 and deal 3 to everything else, or you can Moonfire for 3 damage. But after you've wreaked havoc with the Jungle Moonkin, your opponent gets a chance to strike back. So, you know, it's a lot of risk, but potentially a lot of reward. It's a cool new spell for druids. And again, at the end of each wing, we'll give you the explorer that you've been adventuring with. Here is Herr Finlay Muggleton.
Who's up for an adventure?
This is a pretty bizarre twist on the Discover keyword. We'll show you 3 hero powers that you don't already have, that you're not already using. Of the 9 basic ones, you'll get to choose one. It'll replace the one you're currently using. Here's how it looks in game.
Who's up for an adventure?
So if you're a mage, maybe you see these, you choose, and depending on what deck you're playing and your opponent is playing, you might choose something different. That's Sir Finlay Muggleton. He's also a Murloc, obviously, so. All right. Lady Nazjar had the last piece of the staff. So if you can claim it, you'll go back to the Hall of Explorers and you'll tell Finlay, Hey, Finley, we got the Pearl of the Tides.
Bravo! The pearl is ours. Accompany me to the Hall of Explorers, and we shall assemble the artifact together.
This is it. This is the Staff of Origination. This is your goal. This is your quest. And it's not the end. There is another wing. And I am not going to tell you what happens in that wing, but you may have seen a shadowy figure following the League of Explorers. This is Arc Thief Rafam. And I won't tell you really who he is or what he's doing and what his interest in the Staff of Origination is. But I will tell you that the fourth wing will involve a challenge unlike anything the League has faced before. And you and the League of Explorers will have to band together to defeat it. The final wing takes place in the Hall of Explorers itself, and we really wanted to give you a feeling of travel and new locations in this adventure, so we created a second board just for the final wing. Here's the Hall of Explorers. If you've ever been to the Hall of Explorers in the World of Warcraft, you'll recognize some of the exhibits here. And even though I'm not going to tell you what happens in the last wing, I will show you all of the cards you will earn from it. And I'm just going to blaze through them. So here we go. Here's the first. Elise Starseeker. You've seen her before. She shuffles the map to the golden monkey into your deck. You saw the map, which shuffles the golden monkey into your deck and draws you a card. And the golden monkey replaces your hand and deck with legendary minions. He's awesome. I love the flavor of this card. Elise Starseeker, tons of maps. She's been everywhere. She's mapped out almost everything. She knows where all the cool stuff is. All right, here's another card. The fossilized Devil Soar is an exhibit in the Museum of Explorers that has been somehow animated, and he will be terrorizing an arena near you. I should mention that Elise is the main character sort of in the last wing, and so she'll be doing a lot of the leading of the League of Explorers there. Okay. Here's another new card.
No!
The Wobbling Runs fight you in a tower, and when you knock over that tower, they fight you one-on-one. That's the story. All right, here's another new card. The Raven Idol is a new druid spell, probably the most flexible spell we've ever made. First, you choose whether you want to discover a minion or you want to discover a spell, and then we show you the 3 cards that match that category. Again, you'll see neutral minions and class cards. If you choose spell, you'll just see druid spells in this case. So lots of choosing on turn 1, guaranteed to rope your opponent. All right, here's another new card. This is a warrior weapon, the Cursed Blade. It is cursed, so while you wield it, you'll take double damage from everything. But it's a pretty powerful weapon for 1 mana, so you can use it to gain a pretty early board advantage, or deal a lot of damage directly to the enemy hero for 1 mana. But don't hold on to it too long. Make sure you equip something else when things get hairy. Here's another new card. If you remember the Chromagus fight in Blackrock Mountain, where Chromagus gives you spells that sit in your hand and hurt you or help Chromagus while they're in your hand, this card gives that power to Warlock players. So while they hold the card that you give them, they'll be taking 2 damage a turn. Here's the card. Just sits there, and they can dispel it by playing it out of their hand, or if they don't want to spend the mana this turn because they want to do other things, they'll be taking 2 damage. This is the Curse of Rafam. I didn't tell you much about Rafam before, but he likes cursing things, so spoilers. All right, here's another new card.
Welcome to the exhibit.
This is another priest minion. It's a 2-cost minion for priests. Lets you discover a death rattle card. Now that's, again, could be priest death rattle cards like Dark Cultist. It could be neutral death rattle cards like Sylvanas or Karen Bloodhoof or Stalag and Fugin. This is a really fun new card for priests. All right, there's even more cards. The statue's pretty creepy. It's the eerie statue. If you look at the statue, it's not moving. And then as soon as everyone looks away, it starts coming for you. It's pretty interesting gameplay-wise, too, because if your opponent plays the eerie statue, do you destroy it? Or do you just play some minions and hope that they can't kill all your minions and then they won't be able to use their eerie statue? So it sets up some pretty interesting gameplay situations. Also, you could give it taunt with Sun Fury Protector or Defender of Argus, and then it doesn't matter if there's other minions in the battlefield because your opponent has to attack it anyway. All right, that's the eerie statue. Here's another.
Thank you.
The Tomb Pillager is a new rogue minion. It gives you the coin when it dies. The coin will help you speed up some later game plays. Also, the coin is really good for rogues because it's a very easy way to activate your combo effects. You may have noticed all of the minions, all of the rogue cards in the League of Explorers are minions. We really wanted to push rogue into a minion-focused type of gameplay. All of these are pretty powerful, efficient rogue minions. We're excited about some new rogue decks coming out of the League of Explorers. Here's another new card. They just keep coming. The Desert Camel has 2 humps, and on each hump rides a 1-cost minion. One from your deck, one from your opponent's deck. And when you play the Desert Camel, both of those minions will hop off out of those players' decks into their respective battlefields. At least that's the story I tell myself when I play Desert Camel. This card is really good against players who don't have any 1-cost minions in their decks. They get nothing. It's also really good if you're playing 1-cost minions with negative battle cries like Injured Kvaldir. Super good. This is a beast minion for hunters. All right, here's another card. Animated Armor is a mage minion. This is a suit of armor from the Hall of Explorers that has somehow been animated, come to life. It's a pretty efficient minion, but also it makes your hero very hard to kill. Arcane missiles might do the trick, I guess. But it can only take 1 damage at a time, so if you pyroblast the enemy, they'll only take 1 damage. Very defensive minion for mages. All right, there is 1 card left. I can't believe we've gone through 44 cards already. And this is the evil villain Arc Thief Rafam.
I am Rafam, the Supreme Archaeologist.
Rafam is the Supreme Archaeologist. He travels different worlds searching for powerful artifacts. And there are 3 particular artifacts that he's especially known for. And those are the 3 artifacts you will choose from every time you play Rafam. There'll be the same 3 choices, and you'll see them every time. Now, he costs 9 mana. His artifacts cost 10 mana. And here's what they look like. Here's the first one. Who doesn't want a board full of mummy zombies? All right, here's the second artifact you can choose. This one's awesome. Here's what it looks like in game. timepiece of horror. Okay, he's got one last artifact. This one's a little bit nuts. Here's what it looks like again. So those are the 3 artifacts that you can choose when you play Arc Thief Reform. They all cost 10, they're the same every time. Those are all the cards in the League of Explorers. I'm super excited about them. And the League of Explorers, this is the card back you're actually working towards right now. This is the card back for this month. It comes out December 1st if you hit rank 20 on the ladder this month. And if you can defeat every mission in heroic mode, this is the card back you'll earn for doing that. It's based off of the Staff of Origination. It looks awesome. These are still images, but both of these card backs animate, and they're really awesome. That's the League of Explorers. I'm super excited about it, you guys. The team has been working so hard on it. We can't wait to let you crack open the gates of the Temple of Orsis next week. The wings will release every week after that. There are 4 wings. We're going to take a 1-week break at Thanksgiving to let the server engineers have a chance to have a meal. And then we'll come back to it, releasing the last 2 wings the 2 weeks after that. If you have any questions about any of the cards or anything about the League of Explorers or anything, you can come to the Saturday panel. I'll be there, and Mike Donay is going to talk about tavern brawls. We'll answer any questions you have. And then also make sure you check out the Hearthstone World Championships. It's going to be insane. I can't wait to see who wins. Tice, yes, Tice will win. I don't know. It's been crazy. Tice won 3-2. Spoilers, sorry. All right, so that's the League of Explorers. From me and everyone on the Hearthstone team, thank you so much, and enjoy your BlizzCon.
Thank you for attending the Hearthstone What's Next panel. Up next, the Overwatch What's New panel.
You're watching BlizzCon 2015 presented by DirecTV, your exclusive home for everything Blizzard.